Welcome Spartan Nation, I'm Patrick Klinger, joined alongside by my friend Nathan Wiseman here, and we are at Rio Grande team camp coming to you, and we've seen the Alexander Spartans have multiple practices, 2 the first day, 3 today, 2 tomorrow before they leave. You know, it's been a grueling day, couple days at camp, very hot outside, but it's been great. You know, they've had a couple offensive practices, defensive practices, so Nathan, we're gonna dive right in to that offense first. You know, schematically, this is not going to be something that people have not seen before.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty much going to be a lot like last year. They've only had a few practices, but it looks like Coach Penrod is going to run a lot what he did last year. That ground and pound, power run offense. Hit the defense right in the mouth. It looks like Chase Harris is going to be a pretty good back for him this year, and possibly AJ Marks in there as well. And then getting to the quarterbacks, AJ Marks again could possibly fit in well at the QB position. He's a senior. But then we got Michael Kelly as a freshman. Even though he's just a freshman, he's a quick learner. He's athletic. He looks more mature than a lot of the other freshmen. You know, he's asking a lot of questions. So I'd keep a good eye on Michael Kelly for sure. And their receivers, it looks like they have a good core, but they're just so young. A lot of mental mistakes the first couple days of practices, but you'll have that. Any high school will. But it just looks like they just need to grow up a little bit in that position. But what hinges on this offensive success is going to be that O-line, and that's a huge question mark for this team.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's the one thing that is not going to look the same. You know, they only have one guy coming back, and Brandon Wilkinson that played last year, and he didn't even start. So it's going to be a completely new group up front, and you know, they have an explosive backfield back there. No matter what, they have a couple guys that can rotate in and out. They have a lot of guys back there, but it's all going to depend on how that offensive line can get that push. But you know, and on the defensive side of the ball, you know, in the trenches, I mean, that's once again, that's kind of the theme we're seeing. Is it's a new group, so we're going to see if they can get it done.
Yeah, a lot of changes in the defense. Like you mentioned, the defense helped this team out a lot last year. The offense was great, but the defense is what really won them a lot of those games. And again, graduation, you're going to have some new guys up in there. But again, another positive is we have some leadership. AJ Marks, who I mentioned, he'll be safety. He's really gotten in the locker room. He's kind of beefed up this offseason. And then Chase Harris is that defensive end. A lot of athleticism there. So
he's a beast.
Yeah, a stud on defense. So they have a lot of talent. It's just filling those other sorts of roles on defense. And then Coach Saunders, man, he's been getting on these guys. He's a great coach. I'm sure he'll have this defense ready. It's just going to take quite a bit of time in this offseason to get them to that level.
Definitely. I mean, statistically, over the last couple of years, the defense has been their bread and butter. I mean, that's what's won them games. Their offense has been pretty good, but that defense, I mean, they've been great. So, I mean, offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball, I mean, the biggest thing that we've seen at camp so far is that, you know, this is a young team.
Oh, it's a very young team indeed. You know, at one of the first days of camp, he said, who here is this their first time at Rio camp? It seemed like half the room raised their hands. It was crazy. A lot of young guys, 10 freshmen, unbelievable. But we've been here throughout camp. I've seen them grow so much in just 3 days. Yes, they're very young, but I can see a lot of growth, a lot of maturity. They're asking questions. They're learning the offense. Sure, you got to start at level 1. You got to learn the stances on the O-line. You got to learn to catch the ball the proper way. But they're learning, and I think they're just going to continue to grow and ask questions and get better throughout the offseason.
Oh, I mean, we've seen them progress all the way already from day 1 of camp until you know, the end. But they're growing, and you know, even though it is a young group, those seniors that they have, you know, those 8 seniors, that's the group that's going to lead them through all of this. So I mean, it's going to be a fun rest of the off season, and I'm sure they're going to look like a completely different team by the time kickoff starts.
A lot of improvement for sure. It's going to be a fun off season.
Thank you all very much for sticking with us for all of our coverage of the Rio Grande team camp. We and the Alexander Spartans, we're all coming back to Albany, but make sure to stay tuned for Grind to Shine, a season with Alexander football for the rest of the offseason. We have plenty more coming your way. So for Nathan Wiseman, I'm Patrick Klinger. We'll see you next time.